Hi, my name's Kathy, and my family growing up gave me a strong sense of belonging. There were 5 kids in our family, and I was the youngest of 4 girls with a younger brother. While my father provided financially, my mum was well and truly the one who ran the household. As a full-time mum, she gave her all to her family and the community around her. Our home was like a playground to us, and my mum loved opening our home to those we knew and those we didn't. A big part of our life was going to church every Sunday because Mum had a strong Christian faith which shaped the values we were taught. Growing up, I had a strong sense of security in my belonging in my family. However, when I was 17, my mum died, which changed our family significantly. In the months following, 2 weddings and university meant my 3 elder sisters moved out of home, which left my dad, my younger brother and I struggling in our grief, trying to cope the best we could. I remember crying out in anger to God, why could He take such a good person from us? In rebellion, I stopped going to church, and I began to enjoy the freedom from my mother's watchful eye. Yet deep down, I was lost, and the strong sense of belonging turned to vulnerability. At 28, I got married, and 12 months later, my father died, and we had to sell the family home. I remember walking into the house after all the furniture had been moved out, and all I could hear was the echo of my footsteps. No more laughter or busyness that once filled the house. It was empty, and so was I. My father's death triggered in me a strong sense to begin my own family. But over the next 4 years, that desire was met with disappointment after disappointment as the hope of a child came to nothing. My marriage, after only 5 years, broke down when my husband found family with someone else. Again, I cried out to God, what have I done to deserve this? I felt alone and a long way from the security and belonging that I felt from my family. I started saying to myself, there has to be more to life than this. 20 years after my mum's death, I returned to church and signed up for a course that explained Christianity. And about the 3rd week in, the leader asked a question of us, and it went like this: if you met Jesus tonight, what reasons would you give Him as to why He should let you into heaven? My answer was that I was a good person, and I think I put some examples down. However, what he said next both surprised me and troubled me. He said that if we'd written down anything that we had done, rather than what Jesus had done, then we hadn't understood who Jesus is and why He came. I started to realize that all my previous questions to God reflected that I thought you could earn God's acceptance. But the Bible teaches that sin is more than just bad moral behavior. It's an attitude to God. I'd been living my life for me without giving a second thought to God. I came to realize that the only good person acceptable to God is Jesus, and He didn't deserve anything bad to happen to Him, and yet He suffered death for me so that I could be adopted and accepted into God's eternal family. Jesus invited me into a relationship with Him that is perfectly loving, intimate and trustworthy, and a relationship that never ends, not in death, not in betrayal, not in disappointment. I had never experienced such love. The more I come to understand what Jesus has done for me, the more I realize that my deepest need for security and belonging is met in Him and not in people or possessions.